everybody with Balloon Fiesta Live. I'm Morgan Chando. I just want to give a shout out to Glenn and Art on Balloon Fiesta Live. Just want to say thank you to all the first responders and all the essential workers and all the frontline workers for what they're doing, and especially in this pandemic time. We just want to wish everyone a safe and happy day. We will see you next time. Thank you again. We are in Montana and Missoula, Montana. Yeah. Thank you. Hey everybody, with Balloon Fiesta Live, I'm Morgan Chando. I just want to give a shout out to Glenn and Art on Balloon Fiesta Live. Just want to say thank you to all the first responders and all the essential workers and all the frontline workers for what they're doing, and especially in this pandemic time. We just want to wish everyone a safe and happy day. We will see you next time. Thank you again. We are in Montana and Missoula, Montana. Yeah. Thank you.
Live from the hot air balloon capital of the world, this is Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO Energy, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. It's the Siesta edition. Live and direct from the home studio near Shreveport, Louisiana, and studios of Public Access Channel 27 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, here are the hosts of Balloon Fiesta Live, Siesta Edition, Glenn Moyer and Art Lloyd Jr.
And good morning once again, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO. We're here for the Balloon Fiesta Siesta Edition. I'm Glenn Moyer, live from my home in Louisiana, and all the way across the state of Texas and most of New Mexico is my co-host, my partner in crime, and our executive producer, Art Lloyd Jr. Good morning, Art. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, Glenn. I am well. I see you finally got the dress code memo and put one of them ball caps on.
You know me, and you know I don't generally wear ball caps. I don't know what it is, but I just don't. But today at Balloon Fiesta would be Flight of the Nations Day, where we recognize balloon teams from all around the world that come and fly at the International Balloon Fiesta. So I got this great new cap from Exclusive Ballooning over in England, where I'm part of the team that puts on the Sky Safari at Longleat. And I wasn't able to be there this year, obviously, with COVID restrictions on travel, et cetera. But they sent me a nice cap for the Exclusive Cup. And so I thought, well, okay, today I'll represent my friends in England. And then I went a little further to the UK. You probably can't see it unless I get way back, but I've got a Scotland T-shirt on too.
Well,
so I'm feeling very international this morning.
Well, it's the perfect day for it because, as you said, today would have been the Flight of the Nations when we send those folks up. We have so many different waves on this Wednesday, and I think we talked about it in our first video, but so many different pieces of what has to happen between the Dawn Patrol and the Flight of the Nations and the Balloon of the Day, and then we get into the first wave of the Mass Ascension and the second wave, and it's hard to keep track of where don't forget the Krispy Kreme glow in the middle of all that.
That's right, yeah. It's how can we forget the donuts?
You know,
yeah, Wednesdays are a very busy morning for us. That's true.
They really are, and it's also midweek, so we're halfway through
Hump
at
day.
this point. Yep, it's and so we're gonna have a great show for you today. We're gonna show you all of the stuff we just talked about, and we're gonna be talking with the folks at the Albuquerque International Balloon Museum as well about what's
cool.
going on there. So we'll be talking with them. We know that we have some balloons planning on flying here in Albuquerque. We're just now getting to sunrise. Although a few of them were talking about doing dawn patrol shows this morning from different parts of the city. And then just seems like maybe because it is midweek, a number of folks planning on flying, and we hope to have some live video of that as they get closer to being in the air or in the air itself. So it's going to be a good day, man.
Outstanding. You know, and of course, another reason, not only do I just not generally wear ball caps, but another reason I haven't had one on until now is I'm from Texas, and some people remember Bum Phillips, who was the coach of the Houston Oilers way back when, never wore his cowboy hat at the Astrodome where the team played, and he always said Mom taught him not to wear a cap indoors. So shame on you for wearing a cap indoors.
Well, there you go. Yeah, well, we're normally outside.
Well, we are normally
on the
that's
rooftop studio, and I've just gotten in the habit of wearing one. As you may have noticed from that video we aired the other day, and from what I look like today, I've lost a little of the hair from 30 years ago. And so I've taken to wearing one, and I thought if I did this show without my hat on it, people wouldn't know who I am.
Well, that could be true, and if I can take one more swing at you this morning, the glare from the lights might be more than most of our monitors could stand. So.
Well, so see, there it is. Got my hat on,
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. But,
it's okay.
We had the pool on Ranger yesterday. Maybe we could have a pool on what hat I'm going to wear next. Of course, I'd always win.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and of course, the other morning there was reason for you to have a hat on because you were promoting the Fiesta ball cap that is amongst the many merchandise items that we have. So it's okay. I just wanted to get a quick shot at you. I haven't had a chance to do that this year so far.
Well, there you go. So speaking of live video footage, this is out on the West Mesas, the west side of Albuquerque, almost in Rio Rancho. That's Ted waving at us.
That's
there.
Ted, yeah. Hey, Ted.
Ted did some balloon flying for us last year and has continued on this year. So let's see. Oh, there's a number. Yeah, okay, so there's other balloons
like
getting ready out there. Yeah, I know exactly where they are. They're out there at what we now call the motocross track. There's a brand new elementary school that kind of got built up out there. It just opened this year. And it kind of ended up right off the side of a motocross track that had been built out there on the mesa. Not built, but it kind of just, people just riding around, it builds itself, one of those deals.
Yeah.
And so they got this nice wide open space here. And so balloonists have been kind of moving to that spot as the one about a half a mile down the road has been filling in with more and more businesses. Including one new coffee shop that usually has a line around the building every day, all day long. So Ted's already got the camera going for us. There's one of those Lifting Spirit thank you banners on there. Here's the crew. Lift. Yep.
Yeah. So is that, Ted better than I, and you live out there with him, but is that a repurposed bread truck, or is that one of the older Chase Commanders that we used to see so much in the sport? His Chase vehicle I'm talking about, of course.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't seem to fly at the same time Ted does out there.
Oh, okay.
So most of my conversations with him are over the phone and text and email and those kinds of things. So not sure. And he's doing some lessons. When he did the flight the other day with us, that was the first flight for that student. And so he's doing some lessons out there and some teaching. I'm not sure what he's doing today because he said he was going to be with another pilot. So I'm not even sure that that's Ted's basket. He might be in someone else's balloon, but
it just struck me because it reminded me of the Chase Commanders, the Chase vehicles we used to see so much of in the sport. We don't see them that much anymore. I don't believe they're even actually in production any longer. But so I was just curious about that. I hadn't seen that in a while.
Those were slick, but extremely hard on gas and gas mileage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now, in fact, even when I started flying, it was a lot of pickup trucks. If you couldn't afford the Chase Commander, you're in a pickup truck.
Right.
And I was one of the early ones to fly with a trailer. and even if it was an open trailer, and now more and more folks are doing that, and they've gone to the closed trailer with the full paint and decals and all that stuff on the side, which now makes a lot of sense because you pack everything in the trailer, it's all there for the next time. When you get home,
right.
you just unhook, you take your vehicle, and you continue to drive it around town for all your other daily business.
Yeah, that's the way I used to fly. I went through the van with the Tommy lift and that sort of thing, and, and just eventually went to the enclosed trailer. But the one time I did get to drive a Chase Commander and travel in one, a friend in Texas had bought one from Phil Gleave, who of course used to sell those. And he bought me an airplane ticket and flew me from my home here in Louisiana. At the time, I think I was living in Longview in Texas. Anyway, he bought me a plane ticket. So I flew up to Illinois or Indiana, wherever it was that Phil lived, picked up the Chase Commander, and then drove it back down to Texas for my friend. And it happened to be the first night that I spent on the road sleeping in the Chase Commander was the night that Princess Diana died in that traffic accident. So I'll always remember that trip for that, not because of the ballooning thing. But Chase Commanders were a great part of our sport back in the day. A lot of people had them, and they were a great way to travel, but they were tough on the gas mileage. You're right.
So, you know, we're talking with folks on YouTube and Facebook, just like we do when we're on the rooftop studio, and they are always quick to either correct or add information to what we say here. Well, no, what's come up on our YouTube, PH Fred says that is indeed Ted's system out there.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm saying. They continue to, when we don't know something, they tell us. And thanks PH Fred for telling us that. And
I'm sorry, I was just going back through and looking at comments because I was talking to Lisa Kempner last night from Lindstrand Balloons when, you know, Ranger showed up on the show yesterday.
Right.
And she actually said that she said, did a shout out, said hello to Ranger in the comments. And I missed that. So I told Ranger this morning that he'd been a TV star.
Yep, that was it. So, yeah, and I've seen, let's see, I think I've seen China, Boston. I'm forgetting already. There's all kinds of folks coming in from all around the world already. And we appreciate you tuning in and sharing and posting and commenting along those lines. We enjoy having that conversation with you just as much as we enjoy having our conversation right here on the line. But we probably ought to get some balloons on the air, don't you think?
Yeah, well, but again, our comments, Fred just said that is a Chase Commander, and Ursula Richards says that he purchased it from Stuart Inlow. So that was a Chase Commander we were looking at.
Well, you know, it kind of looked familiar, and I didn't remember it being in town here. But see, look at all the wealth of information we have. The other reason to be watching us here and paying attention to the YouTube and Facebook chat rooms. So that's
balloons.
Well, oh yeah. So we're going to do some balloons. So we. I thought you were going to add something there. That's
no,
right.
no, I'm done.
So, like we said, it's Wednesday. It's midweek. It's Mass Ascension Day. It's Flight of the Nations Day, and on these Mass Ascension days, we always have a Dawn Patrol show as well. Last year, in 2019, for the first time, the Dawn Patrol show actually pulled off a formation liftoff and flight. They did that on this day 1 year ago, and we had it all right here on Balloon Fiesta Live. Take a look.
And we're listening for the word from their Dawn Patrol leader, whose balloon you see on the screen right now, Scott Vesley. He'll be the one who will report that all the balloons are cold packed and ready, and then he'll give the command for them to begin flicker burns to start to hot inflate and stand the balloons up.
I've heard about 4 or 5 report in as cold pack.
Yeah.
The balloons are slightly different sizes, and they have a little bit different.
Team, let's light them up.
There we go.
There we go.
There's the command for them to start the flicker burns. So there you see, if you look on the monitors, you can see the balloon starting to light up, or glow as we call it, in the darkness. There they are, as the pilots begin to light those propane burners, put some heat into the balloon. Initially, they start with just some short bursts, what we call flicker burns or twinkle burns, depending on what part of the country or world you're in. And then eventually they go hard onto the burner, as you see Rick Jones coming up right there. Hard on the burner to bring the balloon up to an upright position.
Always like those little bursts, those little flicker burns.
Yeah.
Because the temperature is just so different. It kind of helps set everything out there with those. You know it's there. Gets a little bit of extra pulling of the fabric. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, and you
don't stand up.
You don't see it, but when you begin to learn about the movement of air as you become a hot air balloon pilot, and as you start, while the envelope is filled with air, once you start to heat it, the molecules get bigger and they start to move around and roll around a bit, and it helps to expand the balloon. And so you don't want to just blast into there with a lot of heat all at once. So those little flicker burns help to get that air movement going, get the balloon expanding, and then you can add the solid beam of heat and bring the thing right up. Our first order of business, I think, is an all burn. I think that's usually the way we do it once they're all on, have done the hot inflation.
And then we'll introduce them all.
All right, so pilots, it's time for us to do our first all burn of the morning. And so let's make this one a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're on the field, we'd like for you to join with us in our countdown. We do the hot air countdown, we do the countdown rather, for our first all burn in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All burn Dawn Patrol. So we're nearing what we think is going to be a very special moment for our Dawn Patrol show team.
We're going to do another flicker burn, a flicker burn. Flicker burn. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Flicker burn.
There we go.
Dawn announced the Dawn team. That's our flicker. We're watching for you at this point.
Dawn Patrol team, southernmost folks, please begin to move out.
So what should begin to happen in just a moment is the balloons are going airborne.
And what we've usually done is sent them off one at a time, or maybe one from one end, one from the other end.
This morning,
rest of the Dawn Patrol team, go ahead and get ready and hot, please.
What we're going to attempt is a formation launch.
Yes. Getting hot means being buoyant, so that you only need just a little more heat before you'll actually leave the ground.
Right. And then on a command, they'll all hopefully launch together. That's the idea this morning.
So they were all in a nice line there as they stood up.
Right.
So they're now moving a few of them out a little bit.
Getting just a little separation.
Kind of a front and back, if you will. We can see that happening.
Patrol team, is there anyone that needs more time to get hot? Tell me now.
So that's our team leader, Scott Vesley, talking with the members of the Dawn Patrol team, checking that everyone is buoyant when he says hot, that they are buoyant and ready to get airborne. Our Dawn Patrol show once again brought to you by Ridge 66 Casino Hotel and RV Park, proud sponsor for our 24th Dawn Patrol show.
We usually don't do formation launches. We don't usually do formation launches with balloons, but it's kind of become the thing. Let's see if we can try this.
Yeah.
Pilots have to be very cautious about what is going on and where they're flying.
Well, because as soon as they're airborne, then they're at the not at the mercy.
Get hot and ready, please.
But they are going to be impacted immediately by the wind. What wind there is, it seems fairly calm this morning, so it's not like they're going to be bumping into each other or anything like that. But they do have to be cautious anytime you're flying in a crowd of balloons. You have to be very aware of what's going on around you on all sides.
And with the formation, now I got to make sure I put about the same amount of heat in my balloon as you're doing in yours,
right.
so that we stay at that same
in
altitude.
formation. You stay at group at altitude rather than just everybody shooting off wherever they want. Kind of like
team, all launch in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
here they go. Let's see how successful we are. Rick Jones just breaking the ground. It's a lot like when you do one of the flights we can do in balloons is called a ribbon tie flight, where you tie a ribbon between two balloons. I've seen balloons do that carrying the American flag suspended between two balloons, and it's very tricky because each pilot has to judge what the other pilot's doing, and you put the same amount of heat to keep the same amount of lift, so that you basically fly connected with each other.
And you tend to do that much more slowly.
Much more slowly than
Control
normal.
team, give me an all burn in 3,
And we're doing
2, 1, all burn.
There are actually competitions, sort of an informal competition, where you do a ribbon tie and two balloons are tied together, and you try to stay tied together as long as you can before you. Usually it's like a crepe paper streamer, so you try to see how long you can stay together before you break the tie.
In 3,
Before it
2,
breaks.
1, all burn.
So Tim Cloyd has gone above the group, but look at all the rest
Look
of
at the
them
others,
right
all right
there.
there in a line. What a gorgeous shot that is. I got to get a picture of that. as a
Don
matter of
3,
fact.
where you going, buddy? Just go out, go out. Go, 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 go.
I've got the glare of the TV lights in my camera, unfortunately, but
Ground Patrol team, give me an all burn in 3, 2, 1, all burn.
And then you got those out there with their turning bits, rotating their balloons in
Yeah,
among the formation.
they're still doing a good job at staying.
They are doing a
in
great job
in a
of
group
staying
there.
together there.
Yeah.
Dawn Patrol team, give me a flicker in 3, 2, 1, flicker. Maintain a nice safe altitude, watch your partner. All burn. 3, 2, 1, all burn.
That sure looks pretty.
Yeah. I had our crew kill the stage lights for us for a few minutes just so we can
But we can see it.
see it. Otherwise, we've got a really, especially in the cameras, a terrible glare. If we can get one really good all burn with them, that's going to be a great photo. You can see it on the monitor, but what we had was a very bright glare.
All burn. In 3, 2, 1, all burn.
You are getting quite the show here this morning.
Really? This is the first, in 24 years of doing this show, this is the first time we've ever done this.
It is.
So it's quite unique.
Give me a flicker burn, team. 3, 2, 1, flicker.
Yeah.
Got to do another of those. I'm going to shoot a little video here. Because we have the perspective. I can see it on the monitor in front of us, but I can also see the balloons in real life out there. And if I can capture that all in video.
Give me an all burn, team. In 3,
There we go.
2, 1, all burn.
Wow. I love it. The marker lights, the balloons themselves all lighting up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them all together there.
Or just come up. That'll work too. All burn in 3, 2, 1, all burn. Watch yourself, Don 3.
And you've noticed, Glenn, that they are not
Flicker
moving
burn in 3, 2,
anywhere.
1, flicker.
So Tim Cloyd, who's kind of separated slightly from the group, even he's hanging over the field. So it's going to be a nice, slow, picture-perfect morning here at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canon.
3, watch out.
And you are watching Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil.
Give me an all burn team. Dawn 3, do not burn. 3, 2, 1, all burn.
So some of the instructions there about Dawn so-and-so, don't
Everybody,
burn.
you guys look beautiful.
Just because you can't see up when you're the pilot.
Right.
So Scott's
Give me an all burn in
instructions are
3,
such
2, 1, all burn.
that there is someone right above him,
So he's telling him not to burn.
not to
so
burn,
that
to
he
put
doesn't
heat in and
rise
rise into the other
into
balloon.
the other balloons. Exactly.
Great job, team. I do not want anyone to land on the reservation today. Do not land on the reservation. Find a spot not on. All burn in 3, 2, 1, all burn.
Quick countdown sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
All burn in 3, 2, 1, all burn.
What an awesome show this morning. Our 24th Dawn Patrol show, which is presented by the Ridge 66 Casino Hotel and RV Park.
Dawn Patrol team, absolutely beautiful. All burn in 3, 2. Yep.
We were kind of speechless throughout the show there, and all we could say is "wow" and "beautiful." That just, yeah, I still get goosebumps thinking about that one.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. And if you're looking at the comments on Facebook, Scott Vesley, who's our Dawn Patrol show leader, is at home with the rest of us watching. And he said, wow, I've never seen it from this viewpoint before. And I reiterated, I said, see, Scott, that's why I always say that you and I, Art, have the best seat in the house in the rooftop studio. And he says, you know what, you do. So, yeah, it was interesting for them to see it for the first time, too. And the team did an absolutely spectacular show with that last year. Great job with that.
And you know, we're actually going to talk live with Scott on Saturday morning about what it takes to do the Dawn Patrol in that formation. So he's going to join us Saturday morning here on Balloon Fiesta Live as we talk about that. So we saw just a moment ago some live video from the west side. That was Ted putting things up. This is now from Balloon Fiesta Park, where a number of balloons have gathered. You know, I forgot to get in touch with Dave Eichhorn to find out what that yellow thing is.
It's a one-eyed SpongeBob is what we called it. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, and I meant to get with Dave Eichhorn and see what that shape really is. But
hey, and before we leave Dawn Patrol, just a quick shout out to our friend Craig Kennedy, because Craig was our Dawn Patrol show producer for many, many years when I started with the group, and eventually handed over the reins to Scott Vesley. So hi, Craig. Hope you're watching, buddy, and hope you're doing well.
Yep, now Ted's in the air, so looking back on that wide open spot that we were talking about earlier, there's his instruments, and there's the street going, pointed right to the sun coming up over the Sandias, and there's that new school, Joe Harris Elementary, that I was telling you about that we're just a little bit a ways from. But this is kind of the area where the locals fly, like we like to say, 300 days out of the year, if you wanted to fly that often.
Yeah. You know, you can tell our audience is growing day by day as we continue with Balloon Fiesta Live this year, because every morning in the comments, someone will say, well, if this is live, why does it say 2019 up in the corner, or 2018? Because you have date stamps on the video. So maybe we should remind folks that you and I are live. Balloon Fiesta Live is a live show, but the Balloon Fiesta, the live event with all the balloons flying, was in fact postponed this year because of concerns over COVID-19 and health restrictions. So Art and I are here showing you video highlights from previous years, as well as you can see as live video from around Albuquerque, and we've had video from other parts of the country as well, and photographs. So Balloon Fiesta Live, the show is live. The event was in fact postponed, and what you're seeing are largely video highlights, just so people out there understand that.
And the name of the show is Balloon Fiesta Live.
Right. Yeah. So we couldn't change it to Balloon Fiesta tape delayed, you know.
Yeah. Well, and we talked the other day about how like Siesta Edition came up and those kinds of things. There was some conversations about changing it to Balloon Fiesta Almost Live, or Live Almost, or Live Sometimes.
half dead sometimes.
Yeah, kind of rejected all those and said it's just going to be Balloon Fiesta Live, the Siesta edition. And so, like you said, I mean, here's live balloons, you know, one being inflated, one standing up from Balloon Fiesta Park. No organized event going on any place this week, this year. So balloonists are putting their balloons up wherever they feel most comfortable. Many of them doing it in their home state, in their home country, whatever that may be. But we have a number of balloonists, like 200 balloons, and who knows how many balloonists actually live in the Albuquerque area and continue to fly, like I said, 300 days out of the year. If you wanted to take off from work and do those or go to work late. So we're around and we've got balloons up, and I'm trying to see if I can tell who that is.
Well, and we also had a number of balloonists from around the country who, just to assuage their withdrawal symptoms at not having Balloon Fiesta this year, actually did get a COVID-19 test. And once they were tested negative, make the trip out to Albuquerque, especially for the opening weekend. So there were a number of out-of-town balloonists who always make the pilgrimage, like I have for the past 30 years, to Balloon Fiesta on the opening weekend. And so they were there and flying in and around the city as well. We even had a live balloon glow on the air on Sunday night, I think it was. So
yes, one of those
been a lot of ballooning. Yeah, a lot of ballooning going on, but the official Balloon Fiesta event itself was in fact postponed this year. That's why we call it the Siesta Edition. We're just taking a little snooze.
Well, and all the staff is frantically and furiously packing orders that show up on our Balloon Fiesta stuff page. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But I was in the office yesterday, and it was, even though we're working at like half staff, it was all half staff on board trying to get those orders filled and shipped out as well. So here we are. There we've now just stood up another colorful balloon at Balloon Fiesta Park. We saw the entire...
that's that multicolored balloon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the multicolor one. Yeah.
That's that famous multicolored balloon that we always talk about.
That's it. We had a great shot of the pilot doing the hot inflation, but I did not recognize who that might be.
I didn't either, but could be one of the Albuquerque pilots that I don't know.
Well, yeah. Even though I live here, it's like I don't know all of them.
And of course, he's driving that rather nondescript white van that they all also use. So
that complements the multicolor balloon.
Absolutely, yeah, it does.
Yep.
So there's a good close-up shot, but I still don't.
Yeah.
See that I know any of those folks.
Well, we got a nice wave from them. RJ, tell them hi for us. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Hey, so the other thing, since this is the Flight of the Nations International Day at Balloon Fiesta, we thought we'd talk a little bit about the Albuquerque International Balloon Museum, which is really on Balloon Fiesta Park, not on the field, obviously, but it is part of the entire Balloon Fiesta Park there. And we actually spent a few minutes talking about it last year. So before we talk live about it, I want to show you what we talked about last year. Take a look.
Imagine that.
The first thing to happen this morning, followed by the mass ascension of all of our balloons. As we watch the Heart balloon, the Cupid balloon coming up right there, you also see the Balloon Museum in the background. That's the Anderson Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum, or just for short called Balloon Museum. And that is a world-class facility that if you're visiting Albuquerque and you've not been there, you definitely need to make it. Whether you're here during Balloon Fiesta, any time that you may find yourself here in Albuquerque, that's definitely a must-do destination. It is filled with historic aircraft. It, of course, hosts the FAI, the Federation Aeronautique Internationale. Get it right.
That's
Hall
why
of
I
Fame.
just stick with FAI.
FAI, yeah, and it's the Federation Aeronautique Internationale Hall of Fame, the International Ballooning Hall of Fame. We have a United States Hall of Fame, Ballooning Hall of Fame, at the Balloon Museum in Indianola, Iowa. But the international one is hosted here at the Albuquerque Balloon Museum, along with some other great exhibits. A lot of videos that my co-host here, Art Lloyd Jr., has either produced or in many cases was also voiced and starred in. He's quite the multimedia hero here in the Albuquerque market, and when it comes to ballooning,
ballooning,
when it comes to ballooning, either that or he's the only guy that doesn't know how to say no when somebody says, "Hey, could someone do a video for us about such and such?" And Art goes, "I will."
Well, I've stopped saying I will. You're right. I don't know how to say no. I know I can't.
Have to say no yet. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, get your cue. I'm busy looking at Facebook comments, and I'm waiting on you. And
apparently the
you didn't pick
video
up your cue.
is a little short, and apparently we have a balloon that was doing a Dawn Patrol show. It'll be Alan's iPhone, Stephen, if we can pop that up. I think that's the one anyway. So I just got a text. This is really, yeah, there it is. That's Peg Milson, and she was doing a Dawn Patrol show this morning. And she is actually down in the river with her balloon. So she's done a splash and stop as opposed to a splash and dash down in the river. So there they are.
Well, and I've got my finger held on my iPad here to hold this comment because I'm learning that special shape we've seen, the one-eyed SpongeBob that we didn't know what it was.
Yes.
David Allen says, hi, Art and Glenn. The special shape balloon is Baby Monster. It was scheduled to appear last year and is from Brazil. So I'm guessing because you and I don't recognize it, it wasn't in last year's event.
There you go.
But it is called Baby Monster. So there we go. Now we know.
Yeah,
Like
I said, our audience
our audience comes through with the best information. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
And so and we got now live footage from being in the river doing a splash and stop.
Yeah.
There's so little water in the river, it's easy to do a stop down there these days.
It's a stuck in the mud kind of thing, isn't it?
Yep, it really is. So but a beautiful day to fly. There's a live shot from Ted Mays on the west side. But we've been talking about the Balloon Museum and how it's right off the back side of the Balloon Fiesta launch field there. Joining us now live is the manager director of the Balloon Museum, Nan Maslin. Nan, good morning. Thanks for coming in and joining us this morning.
Good morning. What a beautiful morning it is. It's so great to see all that footage of Balloon Fiestas past and get a little snippet of what's going on outside this morning.
So there you go. So 15 years now this week basically for the Balloon Museum. For folks who don't know much about it, what can they see when they go to the Balloon Museum? What's in there besides balloons?
Well, there's what you expect, which is all of the beauty and wonder of balloons, but there's also the deep and rich history from early ballooning, from the first flights in France, and then how it took fire around the world and just was an international phenomenon that everybody had to be a part of, through to the transatlantic and the trans-Pacific flights and the record-breaking flights with the Andersons and the Abruzos, and everything in between. And what I love most about it is that there's something in this museum for everyone, from the very young to the most experienced pilots. We have such a diverse collection of artifacts, stories from around the world, of daring flights, and just such a wonderful experience to come into this museum and learn something that you didn't expect to find out.
So, Nan, you have visitors that come from around the world, and for many of them, it's a one-time journey to the museum, and they see it as it is. But you also have an audience, particularly a balloonist and crew, who come every year, and spectators who come year after year after year to Balloon Fiesta. How do you address the challenge of keeping the museum and its exhibits fresh and new? What kind of turnover is there in exhibits? You want to keep the history and the theme of it going, but clearly there are things that change now and again. How difficult is it for you to deal with that?
Absolutely. Well, as you know, ballooning is a living sport, and there are constantly being records made and broken. And so we have a variety. What you're looking at here is our grand hall, and this is part of our permanent exhibition, meaning that it likely won't, these artifacts are here as long as we can keep them. A lot of them are part of our permanent collection. And so this is, oh, and here we have a field trip. We love to engage our youth in this space too. And then off of our grand hall, we have our temporary exhibitions, and those rotate. We have several different exhibitions coming in here shortly. This month, we have a foundation art competition that features artwork by local and international artists focusing on painting and drawings of balloons. And then when we get to a higher level of reopening, when we can have hands-on interactives, we will have Elevation Station, which is a new youth exhibition, which we are so excited to share with you once the governor does allow us to open to more hands-on interactives. So we really make sure that we have new and exciting elements, but then also the artifacts that you know and love and really expect to see at the Balloon Museum.
So it looks like a great place to do some learning. We just saw Science of Flight, and I think we're moving into the weather exhibit here. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, this weather lab is just fascinating. Of course, you all as pilots know how critical weather patterns and changes in weather can be when it comes to flights. And this exhibition really dives deep into what weather means and how various weather patterns affect flights across the world.
And Nan, I know you also do a number of things that are perhaps sometimes not necessarily balloon oriented, but means of engaging with the local community. You have special events at the museum throughout the year, particularly I'm thinking of those that are held around certain holidays, Halloween, Christmas, those sorts of Valentine's Days, those sorts of things. Tell us a little about some of those activities that you do to engage the local community there in Albuquerque.
Absolutely. We have numerous events. If in a regular year we would be doing Balloon Mania coming up at the end of October, but of course all of our events are postponed for now until we can have more large gatherings. But yes, we do holiday events. We like to bring in our community and make sure that we're connecting with the people who are in our area. But a few things that we have right now that are available every Wednesday is our Stories in the Sky program. Typically that is in person in the museum, but right now we are offering that online through Facebook Live, and that has storytelling, music, a craft, and it's really geared towards our early childhood audience from birth to age 5. But those are up and available every Wednesday, and you can find that information through our Facebook page. The other thing that we're doing right now to engage with folks, specifically school-age children, is we have our virtual field trip program. Something that a lot of kids look forward to is getting to come to the Balloon Museum for a field trip, and of course, those are postponed for now. But we have a really great virtual field trip program that is actually, we're all booked through this semester, so we will be taking more registration for next semester.
So if you could sum up kind of what you think the role of the Balloon Museum is, how would you do that?
I would say that the role of the Balloon Museum is to share the stories, the adventure, the history, the romance of ballooning with a broad audience. It's also to connect the culture of Albuquerque with the world and really share those important stories, let people know about the science of ballooning. There's just so much to learn about it, and I think people before they come to the Balloon Museum love balloons, of course. Who doesn't love balloons? But once you get into the Balloon Museum, you realize, wow, okay, there's hot air balloons that I knew about. Most people don't know about gas balloons, and really how much more there is to the science and how it's applied, and just so much more that you can learn about ballooning once you get to the museum.
Great. So we're going to,
awesome.
I was going to say the other thing that we want to talk about, but we're going to talk about it later in the show while we watch this launch from Balloon Fiesta Park this morning. That's a live picture of balloons going in the sky. Is that the connection between the Balloon Museum and Balloon Fiesta. Two totally different entities, but there is still obviously a connection and a relationship. And with the 50th anniversary of the Balloon Fiesta coming up, there's some special stuff coming at the museum, and we'll talk with Nan about that in just a few minutes. So hang tight with us, Nan, and we'll be back with you. So let's continue to move along here, and looks like you're involved in the comments there, sir.
Easy for you to say. Yeah, I was just doing a quick scan and noticed people that are watching that we know. Balloonist Lisa Kempner up at Lindstrand Balloons watching again. Paul Petrin watching this morning. I want to say congratulations to Paul. He was recently named as the championship director for the Balloon Federation of America's National Championships coming up next summer. So a new role for Paul, who of course has been with us and associated with Balloon Fiesta for a while as well. So lots of balloonists that are watching this morning. One of the other Dawn Patrol pilots chimed in that it was his first time seeing the Dawn Patrol show from that view. So along with just great fans of Balloon Fiesta, a lot of balloonists around the country are tuning in to see what's happening as well. And I've got something clawing at my backside here. I believe Ranger has shown up this morning as well. I don't know if we'll see him on camera this morning, but he's here with me as well.
So while we take a look at these great shots from the west side and live from the balloon with Ted Mays, appreciate those shots I want to talk a little bit about the online merchandise store, because that's one of the things that people always like to get: their swag, their souvenirs, their merchandise, all that kind of stuff. And without all the tents and everybody coming to the field, that's a little more difficult to do. So now you have to go online, because like the museum with limited access, our gift shop has no access to the public. So we have all of our merchandise online at balloonfiestastuff.com. There it is on the screen, balloonfiestastuff.com. We've got all kinds of things, from lots of great clothing, and we've got these new Balloon Fiesta Siesta t-shirts. We just got a new stock in, and I hear they're going fast as well. So if you saw that sold out in the last day or so, you might check back today and see if there's your size is back in stock. I know that we added a number of that. Every day this week, we are featuring a new item as well. And so today's Merchandise Monday, even though it's Wednesday, is actually the stone mugs. The other way. Sorry, I threw him a curve because I told him we were going to talk about pins. So these stoneware mugs in three different shapes and about 4 different colors. So those are on special today. So you might want to check those out. There are more colors and shapes online than we're showing you right here, but these stoneware mugs, they have the Balloon Fiesta Time Flies 2020 medallion on them. So yeah, so you know the stuff that has 2020 on it, that's going to be the year that was. So you're going to want to pick up those today. And by the way, we have a special coupon code for all the viewers of Balloon Fiesta Live. If once you've gotten into the store and you've got stuff in your cart, apply the coupon code BFLive, and you'll get a 10% discount on the stuff in your cart. Doesn't work on Siesta merchandise or the calendars, but it works on everything else in the store. So the calendars are already on sale for $5. Unless you want to buy a case of 25 of them is just $100, so they go down to $4. So calendar is a great deal on its own. And I do need to push the Balloon Fiesta Live pins. People are always looking for announcer pins. There are no announcer pins out this year. So the next best thing is the Balloon Fiesta Live pin. It is our logo with the 2020, so it's another one of those dated items. So it's available and for us to be able to pick up, for you to be able to pick up as well. And there is a smaller number of 2019 versions as well. So for all of you fans of Balloon Fiesta Live pins on sale for only $5 this week as well. Pick up one of those. So Mr. Glenn, does Ranger have his Balloon Fiesta Live pin?
Well, actually, Ranger was just asking why there isn't a Balloon Fiesta Live cat collar. You know, he could use a new collar or maybe a little tag for his collar. Yeah. So Ranger is. You can tell that we're virtual because Ranger has popped in. He's getting kind of hi boy. He's getting kind of used to being a TV star now after he made his first appearance yesterday. You know, for years, you and I both are cat people, Art. I think people who know us well know that. And for years, my cat Bailey used to travel with me out to Balloon Fiesta, staying in the hotel. She was never up on the tower. And Ranger and his cohort Bonnie, they don't travel. But now that the show is live from here at home, well, he decided he would pop in and say hello.
Hey, there's Doug Gant and Hamlet, When Pigs Fly.
Yeah,
yep.
When Pigs Fly.
So, yep, Doug was supposed to get me some live video, and I'm going to call him out on the air here because he promised it to me and hasn't sent it yet. But we got live video of you, Doug, so.
Yeah.
And he's flying he's been flying all around the state. He was up in Taos and flew the Gorge apparently on Monday. He was supposed to fly Dawn Patrol this morning, but obviously this is not Dawn Patrol, so he's putting the pig up, as he affectionately calls it, Hamlet. And it looked like it has the Hamlet for President banner on the side of it. I thought I saw.
And in the last year or so, Doug has actually relocated from his home in Florida to where he now lives in Albuquerque. And for viewers who don't know the story behind When Pigs Fly, when Doug first built that balloon, it was kind of a tribute to his dad, because as a kid, you know, he would say, Dad, you know, when can I do this? Or when will this happen? Or whatever. And his dad's favorite answer was, well, that'll happen when pigs fly. And so when Doug decided to build a special shape, he had his father in mind when he built the balloon called Hamlet, but it does also have the slogan on the side of the balloon, When Pigs Fly. And that's a little bit of the backstory to the balloon.
And as you mentioned, Doug did move to Albuquerque right after Balloon Fiesta last year and has gotten himself involved in the local balloon club, Quad A, the Albuquerque Aerostat Ascension Association. Noticed how easy that came off my tongue?
Yeah, I'm impressed.
and I should do a little quick shout out to all of our Quad A members. In keeping with the spirit of doing things virtually and still trying to do ballooning during this Balloon Fiesta week, our crew development committee has a crew trivia contest going on today. And so there was an email sent out about 1 o'clock this morning because we started the contest basically at midnight. So check your email or go on the Quad A website, hotairballooning.org. There is a crew competition trivia contest going on right now. And while there have been about 7 or 8 entries, no one has gotten 100% on the trivia quiz yet.
Wow.
So there's the challenge. It's a tough quiz. I've seen it. So Quad A members, get after it. You have not lost yet. There is still a chance for you to win. So at the early part of the show, Glenn, we talked about all the different things that happen on Wednesday here. We've seen the Dawn Patrol show. And so now it's time to see all the rest of those things that happen on Wednesday.
Okay.
The Flight of the Nations, and just a whole lot of other great stuff. So let's take a look at last year.
Broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the hum of the
Michelle Liberti singing the national anthem for us this morning, and Barney Watson taking the Cool Beans La Mesa RV balloon in the sky with the colors of the United States. Our international balloon pilots in our Flight of the Nation is getting underway. We saw the balloon from France, the mostly blue with yellow, the La Hoy, and we've seen the Festival Global Leon, Mexico. That's probably the wrong order, but that one is up away as well.
That is silver with the red and green and silver checks aboard the top. You can identify the balloons because most of them are carrying their flags of their home country.
There it is.
Far over to the right, one of the first balloons airborne, the black balloon that has the bus making the road trip around it is the balloon called Road Trip. And that is, I've been looking at my binoculars, so I took my glasses off, put those back on. Manure Kassam flying for the first time here at Balloon Fiesta and representing Nairobi, the country of Kenya.
All right.
It may be the first time we've had a Kenyan balloon team here that I can recall.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Smurf is up. Smurf is Cohen Otternaut from Belgium. We've seen Smurf all week, but they are away.
One of the other the Gatineau balloons from not Gatineau, Saint Jean-sur-Richelieu is away, and they of course are from Canada.
I saw another one up there from from India. We saw Mr. Fish a moment ago. Mr. Fish, Rubens Kalashtian from Brazil. There he is again.
So Mr. Fish is one of our international Flight of the Nations balloons?
He is.
Okay.
So again, we're going to be doing a north to south launch. So our Rainbow Riders balloons are standing up all along the middle of the field. So we're going to have to kind of, Glenn, we're going to have to kind of watch our camera from the north end to be able to pick out what's happening from that side. There's offyourrocker.com. Flying rides as well, and a few minutes before that, or a few moments before, we saw one of the 2 Colorado State balloons. They don't qualify as an international balloon. That's the balloon from Thailand, if I remember
right. It is,
right.
yeah, golden white with that golden lion or dragon on I think it's a lion that's on the side of the balloon. We just had a quick shot of that.
So our Facebook folks are getting creative here. I see Dina says, it's Fiesta time again. We're listening to Art and Glenn. Balloons will fly, balloons will glow. You tell us what we need to know so that we can all enjoy the show.
Oh, I got to save that.
Isn't that nice? Thank you very much, Dina. We appreciate that.
There goes the Cannon balloon, our presenting sponsor. It is the 48th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta presented by Cannon, and Johnny Petrin, two-time world champion, multiple-time national champion, is doing the piloting for Cannon Balloons this year, as always.
As we predicted, a nice, slow
launch.
Gentle launch.
Yeah, might as well settle in. We're going to be here for a while this morning. No sign of a box or anything this morning. It's just going to be an up and away, or an up and away.
It's kind of
Dare
up
I say
away.
that?
In fact, I'm looking out there to the river, and I'm already seeing balloons that took off. I see Morgan Chando and Keith Lutz. Just see the tops of their balloons, so they're
Just over
dropping
the trees,
into the
so
river.
they're dropping in.
Oh, there's the Farmers Insurance balloon from Rod Baca as well. Amazing, I can spot all those out that far. And just see the tops of the balloons, so you know
Especially
they're coming down into the river.
right now, because the sun is still behind the Sandias, so it's not that bright looking out that way.
Right, and, there's a great shot inside our. There they are. There's our production team. There's our trailer. There's Gary, our engineer, Lucy, up in front. Stephen, our director. Yeah, there we go. Windfire Productions doing a great job for us again this year here on Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO. Hey, so the sun has hit the balloons here on the field.
It has
and,
indeed.
Everything has popped. We continue with our mass ascension here on Flight of the Nations Day. And just a nice little drift up and away. There's our Desert Viking balloon on the screen.
There's Chris Libachuk in puddles. We were just talking about him, one of the long leap balloons.
And just a nice, and it is a launch from the north to the south today.
Yeah. Hey, it's Flight of the Nations Day, and I have a quick message from my good friend Malcolm White and Pauline Baker over in Ireland. I spent a wonderful day with them just last month over in Ireland. And Malcolm says, on Flight of the Nations morning, please give a shout out to Mark O'Neill, who is flying the Black Sundance Rides balloon. We are currently in Dublin at his grandfather, Dave Hooper's funeral. Dave was one of the few pilots at the 1973 Balloon Fiesta, and Mark is Ireland's Flight of the Nations representative there this year. So a shout out to Mark O'Neill, who is, again, flying the Black Sundance balloon with Rainbow Riders, and is also the representative for Ireland in our Flight of the Nations. So thank you, Malcolm, for sending that info along. We appreciate that.
There's the Fiesta balloon. I was going to check and see who's flying that today. The Fiesta balloon, basically a club balloon, therefore multiple pilots are allowed to fly that balloon. Today being Wednesday, that's going to be Ray Bear, who's on the board of directors. At least the Fiesta folks and Smokey Bear have given me a list of who might be flying that balloon that particular day. There, now we've gone to Lottie Dottie, and right to the right side of the screen here, there's our two fractal printed balloons. So these balloons have the fractal patterns, that infinite mathematical formula. It repeats itself over and over and over again. The one on the right that is mostly orange, Fibonacci. The one on the left, which is mostly blue, Infinitude. All of that pattern with billions, I've forgotten the number, more than 1 billion pixels, actually printed on the fabric and then sewn into the balloon by Kubitschek, into a balloon shape by Kubitschek. And Lottie Dottie checking out the fractal balloons there.
I was waiting to see you're going to do the Lottie Dottie Da.
No, I did that yesterday.
No, you did yesterday. Okay.
So we're joined once again this morning by Henry Rosenbaum, our balloon meister. Good morning again.
Good morning, Art. How are y'all doing?
We're doing great here.
Good morning, Henry.
Great
How are you?
We have today.
Isn't it awesome this morning?
Is unbelievable. I'm sure you've talked about it, but this is day 5, and we've seen balloons in the air or on the ground at every site.
That's right.
We're at 100%.
We are.
Yeah. We had the gas balloon on Monday evening, and that was just an added.
Yeah. Even the opening Saturday with fog, we still had hundreds of balloons inflated on the field.
Great pictures.
And actually a few of the very first ones did get airborne, so we actually did fly.
That's what I'm saying.
On that first day.
We've had 100% balloons in the air. Not as many on that Saturday, but this is another Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce day.
Right.
You need to send somebody to our pilot briefing.
We'll do it.
And let them show the world what we're broadcasting to our pilots.
Yeah.
And I truly mean that. I'm getting texts and calls, and I just talked to my good friend David Hughes. You remember David?
Oh, yes.
Back in Virginia.
David well.
He's carrying his phone around everywhere he goes. He just told me he just left breakfast with a couple of friends of his.
Sure.
And he was watching our broadcast live while he's having breakfast with his friends.
We had a gathering of our Louisiana crew last night, got together for dinner, and some of the Gauthier folks were there as well, because Guy Gauthier is part of the group there out of Longview. His brother was here, and he said I think it was his wife, flew home, and she watched it live on the airplane
Oh,
all
wow.
the way from leaving Albuquerque from the Sunport to landing in Milwaukee.
I'm telling you, you're setting records here. I don't know of any other event that does this type of broadcast.
We think this is the only one in the world
Yep.
that does this kind of
Yeah,
broadcasting.
you're setting the stage.
And look, here come a whole bunch more now that are all of a
It's
sudden
yep.
that wind shift has gotten here, and now we're coming from the launching
They're
off the
coming
south
at-
end, and they're coming at
How
us.
fortuitous of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect timing.
Yeah, there's your black sheep. If you didn't get a good picture of it yesterday.
Oh yeah, there's Wags. Hey Wags. Woof.
And just a little puff of a. I think the nose is a little bit of an appendage.
It
that
is.
Makes it
Yeah,
a
the
special
nose
shape.
is a little bit 3D. In fact, that is the new balloon of Dean Carlton from
That's
up
a
in Illinois.
Great shot.
And
of
he
the
was telling me
name tag.
that he had talked with Sam Parks, and he said, well, you know, we're not really in shape, but Wags does have a little bit of a 3D nose, and so they let him in as a special shape this year.
Yep.
The emoji balloon, the little round yellow smiley face emoji, and there he
There he
is. Lee is here from Lindstrand Balloons in the United Kingdom, and Lord knows, what would life be without emojis nowadays? Nowadays, there's whole campaigns to get special emojis. I know.
So here's a nice shot of our two XTO balloons.
Yep,
XTO
side
Energy.
by side, along with just if you widen that shot a little bit, you'll see Tom McConnell and Dr. Tom McConnell in the New Mexico Zia balloon. So, and we are of course powered by XTO here on Balloon Fiesta Live, and a good time to remind folks you are watching Balloon Fiesta Live with live streaming coverage of the 48th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta presented by Canon, and Balloon Fiesta Live is powered by XTO, a subsidiary of Exxon Mobil. I'm Glenn Moyer.
I'm Art Lloyd Jr. We thank you very much for joining us. There goes the Zia balloon with Dr. Tom McConnell.
Yep.
Well, younger. Is
Younger.
one? Is he a doctor?
I
as
don't
well?
know. I'm not quite sure, honestly.
There's all kinds of Tom McConnells in that family, so it's safe to just say Tom McConnell's flying.
Yeah, or at least one of the McConnells anyway. There's a whole
So the
batch of
blue
pilots
balloon
there.
with the rainbow that's just going off the side
Off
of the,
the right of the
screen,
screen,
there,
yeah.
that's the one I was mentioning before, Bill Walker in Honeydew.
Right.
And the other day he went off and was kind of doing a swing back and forth.
There's
he
our,
said he
our,
was just swaying around the crowd is what he was doing. That's his
our crack
explanation.
camera team there.
Picked it up.
Is that-
This is one of those screenshots that, you know, I think we need to get,
Oh,
get
yeah.
posted here with the two XTO.
Well, the sponsor should like that. XTO should be
Yeah.
happy.
Hey, can you guys animate the bug down there? It should pop up here. Just there it is.
There it
Look
is.
at that.
The XTO bug right on the camera.
There you go.
Cool.
Again, a huge shout out to XTO. Thanks for all of your support here.
In all the years that I've done this, and this is my 30th year, this is the first time that Balloon Fiesta Live has been sponsored, and there go our two XTO balloons launching simultaneously, just like the Dawn Patrol
Notice
show did.
yeah, look at the Balloon Fiesta Live logo there.
Yeah, but in all these years that I've done this, and 30 years of being up on the tower, or
And
the
here we
Super
go.
Secret Announce Tower, or there's our view from the camera.
From the balloon.
We've only been sponsored twice, this year by XTO Energy, and once years ago when it was Tom Rutherford and I, we were sponsored as the official announcers. So it's kind of nice to have, to be sponsored, so thank you XTO for that, we appreciate
You
it.
bet. Look at that, flying out nice.
Yeah, nice formation, the two flying. Right behind them is that pink camouflage balloon is a balloon called Tamo, which is my good friend Tammy Foley.
John Bolger's flying the yellow XTO Energy balloon for us today. Ted Mays flying the red one.
Looking back at the field, and as you can see, we're just about clear of the field, and it's only 8:20. We're running really on a, we were saying how slow it was, but we're actually making great time in getting the field cleared for a mass ascension. We're moving pretty quickly this morning.
So get ready for your close-up from our balloon cam view.
Oh, okay. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Is my hair okay?
He's managed to get a little direction directly over us.
Do I need
again.
makeup?
Maybe.
There we are.
There we are. Hello up there.
That is the famous rooftop studio from where we are broadcasting live.
Great job. Thank you, Will. Thank you very much.
There's Dr. Tom McConnell, or
Yep.
one of the McConnells again, in the Zia balloon.
Yep. From our balloon cam up in XTO as time flies.
Yep.
Get to see the parking of the park. And there's Concession Row, Main Street.
Main Street, yeah.
Swinging back around the L-shaped tent up there in the very far end. That's the Balloon Discovery Center. The big stuff right behind that one balloon is the Artisans tent. More parking and RV parking.
And you know, we have
Look at the balloons in the sky.
Yeah. We've hardly mentioned, too, that the steel chainsaw carving contest is ongoing all week down there on the north end.
So here's our balloon cam shot again, and we said we were seeing the tops of the balloons in the river, and now we actually get a shot of the river. Look at all the people on the sandbar out there, down there watching the balloons come in.
There's Humpty Dumpty there to the
that's
left.
Humpty Dumpty, right?
And then there's the emoji, Lee Hooper up there. Now we're back at the field looking south toward the Balloon Museum.
So the yellow and red with the black spiral, that's Steve Kovic. Of all those boats and canoes and
oh my gosh,
kayaks.
Look at that. Yeah,
Look
all
at that.
up on the sandbar there.
Steve Kovic from Albuquerque with, of course I'm blanking out on Steve's balloon name. Something like Twist of Fate. Twist of Fate.
Looked like he was about to land right there on the sandbar touchdown on the north end
Now there's
of the
an
field.
iron bucket for a basket.
Oh yeah, that's the old Aerostar iron bucket we call them. They're actually aluminum.
Right.
Jeez, look up.
They're out in the water.
yeah, they sure are.
Get out and get a picture to prove that we. Did he just fall in the water?
I hope not.
The water that's all of 6 inches deep.
Reminds
it looks
me
like
of,
he fell. Can we go back to that shot, Steve? The shot from our balloon cam with the two balloons landing in the field, and right between them was a white sheet. So that's one of that's one of the things that we ask our landowners to do in the area here, is to put out a white sheet or a white X that they've picked up. And the idea here is that says, hey, this is a great place to land.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine.
Come
on down.
We welcome. It's like a welcome mat. We welcome balloons to land here.
Come on down and land here.
Oh, well spotted, Art. Well spotted.
We got some great shots last year from our balloon cam, and thanks to XTO.
Yeah.
The cue.
Sorry. Having to deal with my live guest.
As our good friend Marilee says, the perfect co-host.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, he was actually chilling out there for quite a while during the video. He was watching the video and catching a snooze because it is Balloon Fiesta Siesta. Anyway, back to business.
So, okay, so there actually are two eyes on that baby monster.
Well, I'm wondering if it's like some of the other balloons, like Coco the Clown, it's got a sad face on one side and a happy on the other. I'm wondering if maybe he's got two eyes on one side and just one on the other, because I'd swear the side we saw before, it was the Cyclops.
Yeah, it actually is double-sided. So, yes, we're seeing the two-eyed side. Does that make it a three-eyed monster?
Ooh, yeah.
Or what, yeah.
We had the one-eyed purple people eater, but it actually had two eyes on it, but I don't know. So this is Baby Monster. That's what we learned earlier.
And they're live at Balloon Fiesta Park.
And if we stay with that shot, we're about to see the other side, and I think we can prove that we're not crazy, that it is, in fact, a Cyclops on the other side.
And while
maybe our cameraman is just panning around. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, he's walking around to show us the other side. That's great.
Yeah, see?
And
here he comes around.
Yep, there's the one eye that we've been seeing.
Yeah.
And so you see the balloons in the clear blue sky. It is a gorgeous week.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, it's like a real baby on the one side, and then the other side, it's the Cyclops. So maybe that's where the baby monster comes from.
Balloonists are incredibly talented and creative as those things come along and happen up. So it's just great stuff going on from there. So lots of live pictures, lots of things going on around the city today, as well as probably around the country. If you haven't tuned into our feed early, we are airing pictures and videos from folks around the world who have sent us pictures. Kind of started as part of the Lifting Spirits balloon flight grassroots effort, that you will, that was taking place last weekend. Some folks couldn't fly on the weekend, so they're flying during the week. We continue to get those pictures. It's a different loop every single morning. And, of course, you can always go back and watch the entire show with that loop by just going to balloonfiesta.com, clicking on the Balloon Fiesta Live link, and all the shows are archived there with a schedule of what you can expect in the weeks to come as we bring, or in the days to come. I hope we're not doing this for weeks. As much fun as it is.
As much fun as it is, yes. I'm not sure that I can handle more than 9 days at a time.
So, hey, we've also talked about the Balloon Museum here in Albuquerque this morning for a little bit, and Nan Maslin is still here with us. We talked, Nan, about the things that are there at the museum, But you got something really big and exciting coming up. So tell us about that.
We do. We are in the planning stages of our exhibition for the 50th Balloon Fiesta, which now we are planning to release in 2022. And what you're looking at here is a concept board of elements that we plan to feature within the exhibition, including an interactive Fiesta timeline that has all of that data that you've collected, Art, about Balloon Fiesta's past, including the pilots, the balloons, and also setting it in the history and the context of what was going on in the world. We are also going to be recording the Fiesta history, doing interviews. Some of them will be with you and your colleagues, of course. Talking about the experience, what it feels like to be at Balloon Fiesta, those early morning adventures that frankly we're missing this year. Just those breakfast burritos, what it feels like to be on Main Street Vendor Row, and really giving people also the experience of what it feels like to be at Fiesta. I'd like to think about this exhibition as a way for people to experience Balloon Fiesta those other days of the year when it's not happening. We represent ballooning culture, and we represent ballooning year-round at the Balloon Museum, and this is an opportunity for people to experience some of that joy. Of course, we know there is nothing that compares to being on the lawn at Balloon Fiesta during that event, but we want to capture those stories through interactive panels, all these different ways that we want to capture what's being told about those 50 years of Balloon Fiesta history, both in writing, with interviews, with interactives. We want to make sure that we are giving people that sensation, the sound of the burners, the sound of the crowd, the feeling of when the balloons take off. We're looking at having a model of Balloon Fiesta Park and having those balloons really also ribbon into the space, because we do know, although this image shows them floating straight up, we know that they start to spread all over the city. And so we're really looking forward to taking this to a much deeper level. This is a conceptual design where we're really looking at making sure that we have placeholders for all of the stories, all of the memorabilia. We have an extensive collection of balloon items. You may know that we have over 30,000 objects in our collection. And we will be featuring some of those in this exhibition. Here is this screen that is a half dome where people will be able to experience a balloon flight, a glow, and then also a mass ascension. So we want to really capture that experience of what it feels like to be at Balloon Fiesta those other 350 odd days of the year.
So Nan, is there a super secret announce tower or a rooftop studio in your display?
Well, you know, not exactly, but I would like to say that we do have a fantastic view of Balloon Fiesta from our facility. And anytime you all want to host Balloon Fiesta Live from the Balloon Museum, you would absolutely be welcome.
Well, and you're absolutely right. You do have a beautiful view from the balcony there. And you actually have, during Balloon Fiesta, the opportunity for spectators to buy tickets and do a breakfast there, I think, and watch the early morning launch. Is that right?
Yes, yes. That's one of our best foundation support organization events, is they do balloons and breakfasts. You get a phenomenal breakfast and one of the best views of Balloon Fiesta in the city, right there, and you can go out on the balcony and eat your breakfast and watch as the balloons launch. And then we also have a similar experience in the evening with the Dine and Glow, and they are both fantastic food and an incredible experience to get to watch Balloon Fiesta and all the balloons from our grand halls.
So Art, I think Nan's onto something there. I think we need to get Windfire Productions and move the team over to the museum some morning and do breakfast and balloons there.
Please do.
We can certainly talk about doing that. And even if we don't get there, the museum has always put Balloon Fiesta Live on the TVs in there, so they get the live view as well as the commentary that we're providing to folks that way. So we had reports last year of from the museum of the folks at the museum counting down to the glows with the people on the field and with us, because they were hearing us directly from Balloon Fiesta Live. So that was, it's always great to have them participate as well. Nan, it seems like a lot of people have decided that this is the year to put some video and some exciting things together about Balloon Fiesta. And the museum and the city have been working on another project now to release some new videos. And a couple of them are out. I think the third one just hit in the last 15 minutes. Talk about that video project a little bit.
Yes. Well, while the Balloon Fiesta was postponed, we wanted to take this time to regroup and to have an opportunity to meet with all of the folks that have been so integral to making Balloon Fiesta happen, including you, sir.
I watched the video. Yes, you guys used a lot of me and a lot of the Balloon Fiesta Live, and you guys did a great job.
And I would really like to thank you for that, and I would like to thank all of the pilots and all of the folks at AIBF and the Heritage Committee and the board members who really dedicated so much of their time to telling those stories of how Balloon Fiesta started, those behind-the-scenes stories that you don't get to see when you just walk onto the field and are a spectator. And that was a real gift. And so every day we are releasing a new video episode on GovTV, as well as the City of Albuquerque YouTube channel and our cabq.gov/balloon, our website, where we are featuring different stories from Balloon Fiesta. Some focus on the items we have in our collection at the museum. Others focus on early ballooning and the history of Balloon Fiesta. We also have some that focus on launch directors. We affectionately call them the zebras, as well as about the vendors. And then we sort of sum it all up in our last episode to give you a great overview of everything that happens during Balloon Fiesta and at the museum. So we invite you to check those out.
So, like I said, I watched the two that were released. I think the zebra one is just released this morning.
Yes.
And yeah, the history one, I think, captures it very nicely. Brings in some history of ballooning in Albuquerque before Balloon Fiesta, way back to Park Van Tassel and the very first balloon that was ever actually in Albuquerque. And I'm not going to good on my history, but back around 1900 or so.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, there's just so much history right here in Albuquerque, and I love that it ties back to, like you said, the 1800s with Park Van Tassel's first flight, and brings you up to date to where we are now with Balloon Fiesta.
Final question. You got anything, Glenn?
No, I was just going to ask the rather mundane question. We all have favorites at the museum that we like to see there, Nan. So what's your favorite artifact or exhibit at the museum that you would recommend people don't miss when they're there?
One of my favorite artifacts is also, I have to say, our Curator of Collections' favorite artifact, which is a letter that was written about the first flight with the Montgolfier brothers. This 4-page letter where there is this incredible illustration of that first balloon that was made by the Montgolfier brothers, where you can see the detail of the basket with the first passengers on a flight were not humans, as most of you may know. They were animals, a duck, sheep, and a rooster. And just to get to have the honor of seeing this letter in person is a really incredible experience, and we have that piece in our collection. And it is a replica of it is displayed in as you walk in, that first image of early ballooning.
And it is a wonderful museum, and I know, Glenn, you've been there a number of times, as have I, and I want to encourage everybody that when you make your trip to Albuquerque or you live here, sometimes you don't take part of the things that are local when you live someplace. I would encourage everyone to get your tickets online in advance because of what's going on, but make your plans to stop by the Balloon Museum. Nan Maslin, Director of the Balloon Museum here in Albuquerque, thank you so much for joining us today and talking about that. Encourage folks to go by and take a look.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So we've got a few minutes left to wrap up here in the show, Glenn. What I'd like to, I think what I want to do is we got some really great response to our drone footage guys. Now, as you know, Drones are aircraft. Aircraft not permitted to fly within the temporary flight restricted area around Balloon Fiesta Park during Balloon Fiesta. But 2 years ago, we let a drone company, Jesse Sandstrom and his company, Calibre Media House, we let them come into Balloon Fiesta and fly a drone in a kind of a restricted area of their own. And they brought back some fabulous pictures. They had some from last year as well. So he is putting together for us something called Balloon Fiesta 5s. And he also is releasing a video every single day of the wonderful drone footage that he has captured over the past 2 years at Balloon Fiesta. So those are on a site called balloonfiesta5s.com, but I'd like to share one of those with you now so you get a taste of what it looks like. So roll it, Stephen. So what do you think, sir? Nice footage, huh?
That's awesome. You know, a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with drones. I love the video that they capture and the viewpoints that we can see from drone cameras, but I appreciate too the invasion of the airspace, and not just around Balloon Fiesta I'm talking about, but even I know people that have gone out in the wilderness and used drones, and the fact that they invade the animal space, et cetera. So there's a love-hate relationship with them, but the video they capture is unquestionably beautiful.
Well, it wasn't but like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and someone was on our neighborhood association social media stuff complaining about somebody flying a drone over their backyard. So, and you know, the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, trying to get a handle on some of that by making certain sizes of drones the need to register to be a pilot to do those types of things. Certainly, you have to register with the FAA to do that commercially. So there is some regulation that tries to get on there, but I think a lot of people don't know that that's there. And so, yes, there's definitely that relationship. And, you know, it does bring us a different perspective on things. They don't just hover there. All of a sudden, they start moving left and they start moving right. And sometimes it makes it look like, because it appears that the camera is still, that the balloon just changed direction or went up or down, or you zoom in on it and sometimes you get a little different perspective that way as well.
Well, it reminds me, one of my favorite television programs is called Aerial America, and it's typically shot from a mounted camera on a helicopter that flies over various areas of the country. And now you can get that same view with drones, but there's a lot less regulation on drones. And so, and before people get the idea that, oh, wow, next year when I come to Balloon Fiesta, I'm going to bring my drone and shoot video. You can't do that. This was a drone that we specially licensed to be a part of the event. And the event is surrounded by a TFR, a temporary flight restricted zone. And if you're operating a drone within that area without our knowledge, without Fiesta's knowledge and approval, they can locate it and take it out of the sky, and you can end up in some trouble. So don't bring your drone and plan to fly it at Balloon Fiesta.
That's exactly right. And in fact, you may remember that when drones kind of first hit the scene here, we actually put up and tested that drone detection system and found them and the operator within like 5 minutes. And that included the drive from where we were to where the operator was.
Yeah, and I've seen that happen at other balloon events that you and I both announce around the country, where drones are flying and the events are monitoring it, and they actually typically have law enforcement standing by to go out and locate the operators of the drone and get the drone out of the sky. So not a good thing to operate a drone around any balloon festival, Balloon Fiesta or otherwise, unless you have specific permission from that event.
So here's another live picture from Balloon Fiesta Park. Again, again, we have no organized events going on. Balloonists are just putting their balloons up, many of them flying. Just heard from our good friend Sue out in Rio Rancho that there are a number of balloons out in Rio Rancho, which is a suburb on the northwest side of Albuquerque, all looking for places to land along Unser, for those of you who are local and understand that reference. But they're all out there, and it is an hour and 20 minutes after sunrise, so it is the time of day when they're going to be looking to get down, not to mention fuel, etc. But Dave Eichhorn has set up our Baby Monster, and today we're seeing, or this morning, we're seeing the Two-Eyed Side.
And if Baby Monster was looking for a sponsor, he's getting more camera time this week than he ever would have gotten had he been at Balloon Fiesta last year. So, so good on Dave,
There you go. Good thing for Dave. Thanks for keeping it up there for us, and for RJ for getting those pictures for us. Hey, I do want to take another trip over to the merchandise store, balloonfiestastuff.com, and I want to highlight that pin right there, the Balloon Fiesta Live 2020 pin. So it is available online now. People have always asked, how do I find Glenn? How do I find Art? How do I find a crew member, Ruth or Kim, to get those pins? Well, finding us this year is going to be next to impossible. So we've made it easy for you. All you have to do is head to balloonfiestastuff.com. There is the 2020 pin. The 2019 pin looks very similar. The date changes in the lower left-hand corner. And they are both on sale for just $5 this week. They go back up to the regular price after the Balloon Fiesta week ends on Monday. So you're going to want to go ahead and pick up one of those, or two of those, or heck, get a dozen so that you have them to trade and be one of the special folks there as well. If we can zoom out just a little bit there, we'll see the big patch that is new. So kind of out and down, there you go. This great patch, Fiesta balloon, and below it, the Looney Tune characters with Marvin the Martian and the Coyote and all kinds of them on there. Lisa Mulder, our marketing manager, told us the other day that it took 2 years to get the rights to be able to use these characters on a piece of merchandise.
Now, which character is that in the lower right? The opposite side of Wiley. Is that Bugs Bunny on there?
Yeah, it looks like Bugs. And then, of course, you see the Chuck Jones Creative Studios there.
Yeah,
Marvin,
I see the Roadrunner.
Yeah, Roadrunner's in the basket.
Yeah, and there's the Coyote.
Right.
And Marvin. So, yeah, I think that is Bugs on the far right side there.
Yep, looks like he's got the, looks like they're trying to hold the balloon down with the drop line or something there. So all kinds of pins and stuff available for you at balloonfiestastuff.com. If you use the coupon code BFLive, BFLive is the coupon code, then you get an extra 10% off everything in your cart except the Balloon Siesta merchandise. So anything that we made for Siesta, that is not included in the 10% off. But all kinds of pins. People are always collecting these. Did you make them? You canceled the event. Well, yes, the pins were literally designed way back in January, and they came in, you know, the March, April, June timeframe, which was when COVID hit and when we had to go ahead and move on. So,
speaking of those special characters, tomorrow on the show, Art, we move into Special Shapes Rodeo Days, don't we?
We do, and so we're going to feature them tomorrow, and tomorrow or Friday, we're going to look back at the second annual Special Shapes Rodeo as well. So some extra special footage that that you've seen. We showed that from the ground up earlier in the week. This is another piece from that show. People love that. I think you're going to love this too. Some of the same shapes are here, but some shapes that you haven't seen in probably 30 years.
Outstanding. I look forward to that. That'll be on the show tomorrow morning. And that's a cue that it's almost time for us to say goodbye for this morning, I believe.
So for Glenn Moyer in Louisiana, I'm Art Lloyd Jr. in the studios of Studio 519, Channel 27. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 a.m. Mountain.
Bye-bye.
You've been watching Balloon Fiesta Live, Siesta Edition, powered by XTO Energy, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. Always in October and always in Albuquerque, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is the world's premier ballooning event. Make plans now to join us in person in 2021 for the 49th version of Balloon Fiesta. Thanks for watching Balloon Fiesta Live. This program is a production of AIBF Inc.